Good morning. Good morning. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome in. Happy Friday. If you guys are in the chat, say hello. Hopefully you guys had a good week. Steve is going to come on later at 11:30 since he didn't get to come on Wednesday. There was kind of some miscommunication on my part on the back end. Steve is going to be on vacation next week, and I saw him cancel his time. And I thought it was for Wednesday, but it was for next Wednesday. So that was my fault. But Steve is going to come on 11:30. Who knows what we'll get into this week? We got so much going on: football, baseball. The Blue Jays are doing their thing still, so I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about there. We also have 2 football games tonight. So if you guys are interested, I will be posting another preseason DFS blog. That will be up, article, rollinginsights.com later today, like after the stream. But we can talk about it here on stream too. Quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, and tight ends, guys that I think are going to be playing tonight. So if you want to play some DFS, have some fun with these preseason games, we can talk about that. I also am going to put, before we head into the weekend here, I'm going to put a couple updates in my big blog post here, the draft article. A couple people asked me what other early receivers I like. If some people play in softer leagues or on different websites, maybe they, some people want to do different things, or they want to use kind of a hybrid version of my strategy. So I'm going to add in there's another early wide receiver I really like in addition to Nico Collins. So I'm going to add him in the update tier. If you go all the way down to the bottom of the article, I put this spot here, the update log. Also, shout out to Jeff. We have an author card here in the article now, so you guys can see a cartoon version of me. So shout out to Jeff for that. But I'm going to put down in the update log the other early receiver I like, and then there's another late running back that I've kind of become a little bit more interested in that would fit in this kind of round 10 or later tier. So I'm going to add him in there as well. So be sure to check for those updates later tonight. I know some people will be drafting this week and this weekend, and then I know the next 2 weeks are really, really big for drafting. Some other stuff to just get out of the way. Thursday the 28th will be a 2-stream day. I have a $300 buy-in draft that night that I will be streaming for you guys, so you guys can tune in. I think 7 or 8 o'clock, one of the two. I don't know for sure right now, but make sure you guys tune in that night. I'm going to be drafting a $300 buy-in league. I'm also going to do the $250 single entry best ball draft on DraftKings. They have a $250 tournament single entry. It's like an 850-ish person field. I'm going to do one of those drafts on stream in the coming weeks as well. So at least a couple drafts from me. I also would like to hop in the RotoWire. We're partnered with RotoWire here at Rolling Insights. They have a big tournament every year on NFFC, which is the RotoWire Online Championship. It's a $350 buy-in, huge first prize of $250K. It's 12-team leagues, and I would like to hop in one of those as well. So definitely have some drafts coming on my end. We'll probably stream our Rolling Insights company draft as well. I forget when that is. It might be the 29th, to be honest with you, just off of my memory. But a lot of draft content coming here on the stream. But stay tuned for those updates in the article for this weekend if you are drafting. And as I said a few times, if you guys want assistance with your fantasy drafts, you can go to rollinginsights.com, go down to the bottom of the page where we have our social links down here, Discord, Twitter, YouTube. Hop in this Discord. It's free. I'm in there. You can ask me any questions. Some people have been asking me questions this week. And if you want assistance with your draft, I can assist you in there with anything that you guys need. All right. If you guys have questions on anything, ask. Let's dive into these games tonight. And then I think Steve will be in here in about 20 minutes. So 2 games tonight. We have the Tennessee Titans and the Atlanta Falcons at 7. And then we have the Kansas City Chiefs and Seattle Seahawks at 10. The total on these games, 37.5 for the Titans Falcons game, 39.5 for the Chiefs Seahawks game. Let's go. We'll go game by game, but let me pull up like a contest real quick to have something to look at. Of course, this will log me out. I hate how often these websites log you out. It's really annoying. You should be able to opt in to like not want to be logged out. All right. So we'll go game by game here, or team by team, I guess, rather. And yeah. So starting off with the Tennessee Titans, I do think Cam Ward will play tonight. Probably 2 series, if I had to guess, which would equate to like, I guess, like, depending on how the series, like, if they went 3 and out 2 times in a row, like, maybe he would get a 3rd series. I don't know. But I don't think we're going to get a full quarter of Cam Ward unless they either go on a really long drive or they go on like 2 3 and outs. I think ideally you're going to see like 2 series from Cam Ward. And then you have Brandon Allen and then Trevor Siemian. Trevor Siemian is not even in the player pool. I don't think they just signed him. They got rid of Tim Boyle. So if you look on DraftKings, like in your DFS contest, you'll see Cam Ward, Brandon Allen, Tim Boyle listed as the quarterbacks for the Titans. Tim Boyle is no longer on this team, and Siemian just got added. So I think after Cam Ward exits, not Tim Boyle, Siemian will probably just like play the end of the game. I think you'll get a really big chunk of Brandon Allen in this game. So he is on the quarterback radar for me. If I was going to play a Tennessee quarterback, it would be Brandon Allen. Now, we did see last week Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Those guys played 2 series. Joe Burrow had 2 touchdowns. You know, could Cam Ward do that? Or could, I guess, like Sam Darnold's a starter, I think is going to play in the later game. Could those guys do that tonight? Maybe. But I think it's less likely that they would do it as opposed to Joe Burrow throwing to Jamar Chase in a preseason game. So I probably won't play any of like these starter level players tonight. But I do think we're going to see a couple series of Cam Ward and then a lot of Brandon Allen after him. At running back, obviously Tyjae Spears is not going to play. With him being out, like how much Tony Pollard do we actually see? I don't know. I don't have an answer to that. But that is going to tighten up this room a little bit. That leaves you, Chestnut, Mullings, Mims, Jefferson for the Titans. I think Chestnut and Mullings are like the most interesting. And then of those 2, Mullings, they seemed very motivated to get Mullings the ball last week. Jim, good morning. He got the ball a lot when he was in the game. So, and I'm sure he would fit the kind of mold of one of these evaluation guys right now. So I wouldn't say he's my favorite running back on the slate, but I do think there's some value for him. I would rank him like probably 3rd, 4th on this slate. He's definitely in play. Receiver, I mean, we'll see Ridley, Lockett, Van Jefferson with the starters. They have a lot of guys, though, the Titans. So this isn't like a great situation, in my opinion. The one guy, if I was going to play a Titans receiver, if you want to consider DK, that's fine. I played Elik Iomanner over the weekend last week. He didn't really do anything, but sometimes that's how the preseason goes. He ran the most routes on the team. He is the best contender for kind of a guy that's going to step up for the Titans in the regular season and like become that option for them after Calvin Ridley and like Chigakonkwo. I mean, Tyler Lockett's Tyler Lockett. We kind of know what he is. We know what Van Jefferson is at this point. So like some people like DK. I like Iomanner. I liked him a lot at Stanford. So I think you could look at him tonight. Like I said, he ran the most routes on the team last week. Didn't do anything with them, but sometimes that's how the preseason goes. He's going to be on the field again tonight. And yeah, I think he's in play. Not one of my favorite plays, but in play. Restrepo looked terrible. I still laugh about Kurt Benkert. If you guys know who that is, he used to play for the Packers, and he's like a big social media presence. I think he works with Underdog. He tried to compare. I still laugh. I can't even say this without laughing. He tried to compare Xavier Restrepo to Ladd McConkey, which is just one of the more insane things I've ever seen. But he looked terrible. He'll probably play a bunch in the second half tonight. So if you want to use Ladd McConkey in a preseason game, I guess you got Restrepo there. I actually tweeted when Kurt Benkert tweeted that Xavier Restrepo was this year's Ladd McConkey. I tweeted at him and I said, I'd bet you, I would bet him $1,000 that Restrepo does not come close to Ladd McConkey's 40 time. And he never responded because why would he? I mean, he was spouting off nonsense. But then I'm pretty sure Xavier Restrepo ran the 40. I think he ran like a 4.8. And I swear to God, if he actually ran like a 4.7, 4.8, I don't even remember the last time I ran. I'm pretty sure I could run faster than that. So, yeah. If you want Ladd McConkey in the second half of a preseason game, you've got Xavier Restrepo down there. Just one of the more insane Twitter takes of 2025, in my opinion. Tight end sucks in preseason per usual. If you want to use Gunnar Helm, he is at least, like a viable football player. So you could plug him in for Titans. But that does it for Tennessee. Mullings and Brandon Allen and Iomanner, probably the big targets for me. But like I said, this is like my kind of first look upon my research this morning. I'll tighten it all up and put it in an article for you guys later. Atlanta is a lot more interesting to me than the Titans situation. I could see myself playing 2-3-4 Falcons on tonight's slate. It doesn't sound like we will see any Penix or Cousins again, which just leaves you two quarterbacks, Easton Stick and Emory Jones. My assumption, we get a half of each of those guys. So just by nature, both of those guys are in play. Running back. So I was really in on Carlos Washington Jr. last week until I found out a little bit before lock time that he was not dressed. And then I had went and found these reports that apparently he wasn't practicing the few days prior. It's hard. The Falcons have not been reporting on him much, the beat reporters. The most recent tweet I found was from like Monday, and he wasn't practicing again. So, I mean, I'm just going to assume he's not playing, and we're not going to see Robinson or Algier. Hopefully we get like another, like a confirmation right before the game that he also is not playing again. But assuming that's the case, they just have three running backs, which are the three that we saw last week. That being Nathan Carter, Elijah Dotson, and Jashawn Corbin. Dotson, I don't really know. I feel like Carter, I would probably rank them Dotson, Carter, Corbin in that order, but just by nature, because I only think they're going to have three active, they're all three going to be in play because this is the most likely, situation that we just know these guys are all going to play, and it's just three of them. So Dotson, Carter, Corbin, all in play for me from Atlanta. I definitely will have at least one Atlanta running back on my team tonight. And if you want to play both of them, or two of them rather, you can do that. I have always thought that's fine in the preseason. You want to play two running backs from the same team. If you know they're going to be on the field, that's fine. Mike, what's up? Plan B if Kittle's not there in round 4. Yeah. So I think what you could do is if you miss out on a quarterback here, so like say you're able to go, a running back and then Chase Brown and then T. Higgins, right? Say I'm able to do that. Maybe I could grab another one of those quarterbacks if one is still there. Probably Hurts or Daniels because it seems like Lamar and Allen go earlier. So maybe if Hurts or Daniels are there in the 4th round, you can grab one of them. I think that's fine. I'm probably gonna include this in the update too. I just don't love this range, but I do think you could consider taking like a Kenneth Walker there. You would just have to prioritize getting Zach Charbonnet. If you draft Kenneth Walker, you need to secure Zach Charbonnet as well. But I've always loved Kenneth Walker, and I do think that Seattle is a valuable spot for fantasy running backs with Kubiak there. So if you can't get like T. Higgins in the 3rd and you take a quarterback instead, so you're wondering who to take in the 4th, I think Kenneth Walker would be an okay pick. You just have to make sure you get Zach Charbonnet coming back. Maybe reach up around just to make sure you get him. Or you could just reach on a receiver that I like. It's just such a weird range for me in the 3rd and 4th round because I really don't like any of those players, really. It's really strange. It's not that I don't like them. It's just I like all the guys that go later ahead of all those guys that go in those rounds. So it's kind of interesting dynamic. But I'm probably going to include Kenneth Walker in my update that I think it's fine taking him as long as you get Charbonnet to go with him. But maybe you could get T. Higgins and then a quarterback in round 4. I did a 12-team draft at the Expo over last weekend, and I'm pretty sure I took Jalen Hurts in the 4th round. So him and Daniels both would be fine right there. I'm gonna actually check that for you. Let me take a look real quick, and then we'll continue on with preseason. Let's see. Draft results. Yeah, I took Jalen Hurts at the 4-5. So I started my draft. So 12-team draft at the Fantasy Football Expo on Saturday. I started Genty Chase Brown, which is exactly what I have written in my article. I drafted from the 8 spot in a 12-team league. I went Genty, Brown, JSN, because T. Higgins went a couple picks before me. Kittle went 1 pick before me. I would have taken him. So I went Genty, Chase Brown, JSN, Jalen Hurts, and then I went Waddle, Travis Hunter, Jordan Addison. That was kind of like my start. All right, continuing on. Atlanta, though, no London, I don't think tonight. No Mooney, no McLeod, probably no Hodge either. Dylan Drummond went absolutely nuclear in their game over the weekend. He had 8 catches. I think we'll see a lot of him. He's probably going to be the most popular receiver, if I had to guess, or one of them, just because of what he did in that first game. And then I also like Nick Nash. He will play probably a lot in the second half. He had a couple catches from Emory Jones last week. He was very, very good in college, a prolific college player, Nick Nash at San Jose State. So I like both Dylan Drummond and Nick Nash. They will be included in my article. And then tight end for them, if you want to consider Josh Simon, he kind of got the most run for them. I thought it would be Franks, but it was actually Simon who got the most run for Atlanta last week. You can consider him. All right, in the later game, KC, I don't think we'll see any starters tonight. So, yeah, quarterback spot, it's a little bit behind. Maybe we see a bunch of Zappy. I don't know. But I'd probably rank this behind Atlanta, behind Tennessee. This would be like the fourth of the 4 quarterback spots for me tonight. So passing on that overall. Running back, I do think we'll see a lot of Brashard Smith. We saw a bunch of him in their last preseason game. I don't think we'll see any Kareem Hunt. So even if Pacheco plays a series or two, it's still going to be a thinner situation here. But I think Brashard Smith is fighting for a roster spot. I think we'll see quite a bit of him. And then same with the receivers. Like, I don't think we're going to see any of these main guys. Tyquan Thornton, I don't think we will see. I don't know. He'll play. I just don't know how much. Jalen Royals is the guy that I would be most interested in from the Chiefs. Definitely think he played a good amount last game. Kind of the same situation, fighting for a roster spot. Younger player. I could see them, making a point to throw the ball to him in this game. So I like Jalen Royals quite a bit. And then don't think we'll see Kelsey. Don't think we'll see Noah Gray. Robert, our boy Bob Tunyon actually played a lot, ran a lot of routes last week for KC. So tight end, always terrible in preseason. You can definitely do worse than Tunyon tonight. And then Seattle is an interesting spot because I think we're going to see Sam Darnold, but how much? I think the speculation right now is a couple series. Last year, I feel like they said it would be a couple series of the starters, and we saw Geno for 1 series. But this is also a different situation because Geno Smith was a lot more, I guess, secure, you would say. Like they kind of knew what they had more with him as opposed to Sam Darnold. So I don't know. Could we get 1 series? Could we get 2? It's kind of a mystery. After that, we've kind of seen these teams oscillate. The Colts did it. The Lions did it with Hendon Hooker and Kyle Allen. I think the Seahawks will do the exact same. So the last week, we saw a lot of Drew Lock and then Milroe to close out the game. I think it will oscillate this week, and I think we'll see Drew Lock finish out the first half after Sam Darnold is done, and then Jalen Milroe will get the rest of the game. I think we'll see more Milroe than Lock tonight personally. So if I'm right, again, this is speculation on my part. I could be wrong, but I have a pretty strong feeling there. Milroe is going to be a top option if we get a half of him, because assuming we're getting a half of Stick, a half of Emory Jones, and maybe 2 quarters, 2.5 quarters of Brandon Allen, Jalen Milroe, if he plays the same amount of those guys, is just much better for fantasy. Like more of a threat to run, bigger arm. So Jalen Milroe, top quarterback option on the slate for me. Running back, I don't know if Kenneth Walker will play at all. So assuming he doesn't, we'd see Charbonnet with the starters. I think it's just the same suspects that we played last week. Last week, I was right. Everybody played Damian Martinez, but it was Holani that went off. We had Holani. I think you can go right back to him, and then you could take Martinez as well. It's just those 2 guys again. Holani's a better player, in my opinion. And we've kind of seen different regimes, but we've seen these Seattle running backs have success in the preseason a lot in recent seasons. So maybe Holani is kind of right on there, but both him and Martinez are fine. JSN, Cup, MVS is who I'm assuming will play with the starters, even though I think there's a good chance Torrey Horton overtakes MVS. I think for right now, they want to get Torrey Horton those reps. He looked fantastic in the preseason last week, scored a touchdown. Yeah, he's one of the top receivers on the board. You can certainly use him. There's upside for him to play with Darnold and then, with Drew Lock as well. And he had a lot of success with Drew Lock in their game last week. So Torrey Horton, top option. And then I like Ricky White here. Played for UNLV in college, was an exciting college player. He played a lot with Milroe last week. So if you're looking, if you're playing tournaments, playing the bigger field tournaments, and you want to stack Jalen Milroe with somebody, I like Ricky White. I think Ricky White has some potential too. I liked him at UNLV. He was supposed to be a top pick for a while, and then it kind of never ended up that way. But he's best comp to Mario Manningham on Player Profiler, 4.49 40, which is not bad. 96th percentile college dominator rating on Player Profiler. He had some big seasons. at UNLV. So I like Ricky White. I think he's a good, like, he's the type of guy that could really, really have success playing against these like back end of the roster guys. So Ricky White is going to be included in my article. And then for tight end from Seattle, it's just Elijah Arroyo, the rookie. So he was pretty high owned last week. He had like a couple catches, I think, didn't do anything crazy, but you can go right back to him. I would put Arroyo and Tunyon as probably the two best tight end plays for me on the slate. And then maybe I'd probably rank it Arroyo, Tunyon, Helm, Simon right now. That'd probably be my tight end ranks for this slate. All right, that does it for the preseason DFS slate. If you guys want, like, the article will be out, but I mean, I'll probably start my teams with like Milroe, Brashard Smith, one of the Atlanta guys, like running backs, and then Drummond or Nash. I'll probably put Royals in there. And then maybe two. I don't know. You could do another Atlanta player. You could do two Seattle. Like you could do Horton and Ricky White, I think. Like you could do Horton and Ricky White. You could do Io Manor and one of the Seattle guys. You could do a Seattle receiver and then throw like a Jolanio Martinez in there. Yeah. And then for like defenses, I don't really care about defense in preseason. I'd probably just pick like, I don't know. Seattle, I just click one of the favorites probably. Seattle or Tennessee. I think Tennessee is playing like if we just look at the quarterbacks that are playing, I would say like Atlanta, even though we're most interested in them for DFS because of how much they're going to play, I would say Easton Stick and Emory Jones are the worst of those quarterbacks. So Tennessee probably, I guess, for the defense for me. And if you guys have questions on anything, go ahead and ask there. There was some news to react to as well. Rashee Rice. So I didn't really understand this. I saw a lot of people that were like acting like that Rashee Rice news yesterday was good. That was the worst possible news you could ever have for Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice went from, I was talking on stream a few days ago, like if he starts dipping down more, I thought he was a good pick. There's no way you can draft him at this point. Like, is there a chance I would personally think that the delaying of this increases the likelihood of it being a longer suspension, right? So he's going to play those first 4 games now, but you would rather him just have a 6-game suspension to start the season and then come back in week 7 and play the rest of your fantasy season. That would have been ideal for Rashee Rice. Now with him, he's going to play 4 games. He's going to have this hearing, and then there's like a bye week. He's going to get hit with, like I said, I think the likelihood that this is a lengthier suspension goes up with the fact that they're waiting on this instead of just dishing out whatever. Like the fact that they want to have this hearing is not good, in my opinion. So I think we were looking at 4 to 6 originally. I think we're looking at 6 to 8 now, to be quite honest with you. I would not be shocked to see a 6 to 8. So if he goes out for starting week 5 and misses 6 games, 7 games, he's not even going to come back until you're in the fantasy playoffs. Like your team might not even be in the playoffs at that point. It's essentially like a lost season. So yeah, I thought that was terrible news on the fantasy football front for Rashee Rice. I saw a lot of people that I don't know if they like mistook it that he like was not going to get suspended now and it was going to be next year. I don't think that's the case whatsoever. I saw a lot of mindless NFL fans saying like the Chiefs get all this help and stuff. Like I don't necessarily think that's the case because, like I said, I think it's more likely he gets 6 to 8 games now as opposed to I thought he was going to get 3 or 4. I think he's going to get hit a lot harder now. So I thought that was bad news for him personally. And for fantasy purposes, it pretty much eliminates him from the conversation for me. So I won't be taking any Rashid Rice. I already had Xavier Worthy written up, in this blog right here in that round 5. I think you could reach for him now. So maybe, Mike, I don't know if you're still listening, but, I could see, honestly, with the Rice news, I would be willing to bump Worthy up into this round 4. So if you don't want to take Kenneth Walker and you don't want to take a quarterback in that round 4, I would be fine reaching up and just taking Xavier Worthy there because it might suck for 4 games. With Rice there, like he's going to be the second, third option. And, if you want to include Travis Kelce in there, he's going to be like the second or third option. But once Rice goes out, I think there's a very, very good chance he's a top 10 fantasy receiver. And if we look at the Chiefs' schedule, to be quite honest with you, I think that's even more advantageous for Xavier Worthy. So they play the Chargers, the Eagles, the Giants, and the Ravens those first 4 games, right? That's a pretty tough schedule. Chargers is in Brazil, so that should be like a high-scoring game. I'm not a big believer in the Chargers defense this season, so I think that's going to be a high-scoring game. The Eagles, that's tough, and that's a good defense. The Ravens, that's tough, and that's a good defense. So, I think it's honestly ideal because then you're going to get a nice stretch of these high-scoring games after that. Jacksonville, Detroit, Vegas, Washington, Buffalo, Indy, Dallas, Houston, Chargers again, right? Like we're in like a good stretch after that. Because I saw some people speculating like Rice would play the first 4 and then get suspended for 5, 6, 7, 8, and then come back for week 9 against Buffalo. I just don't know if that's the case. I think we're going 6 to 8 now. I think he's getting 6 to 8 games. And I could be wrong on that. Again, this is pure speculation on my part. But I trust my opinion, and I just feel like that's the most likely scenario. But regardless, I'm kind of more interested in Worthy now. So I might bump Worthy up above these guys into this round 4 tier, to be honest with you. So if like Kittle's not there, if you're playing in a sharper league, because Kittle has got steamed a little bit. I've seen him go in the 3rd round in some 12-teamers. So yeah, I think you could. I'm probably gonna just bump Worthy up into this tier, and Jameson Williams too. Honestly, like I think you could push both those guys up. Favorite late round receiver? If I had to pick one, it has to be Demario Douglas, especially just because I included him in the My Guys list. I don't think I've ever included a late round player in this list. It's always been guys that I feel confident I'm going to leave my draft with. I think it has to be Demario Douglas for my favorite late round receiver. I saw like speculation now too if Stephon Diggs was going to be ready to start the season, and I mean that would just even further push the agenda. But I mean Demario Douglas goes so late. You can get him so late in a 12-team. You can get him if you play in a 10-team league. He like doesn't even get drafted sometimes. It's actually insane, especially because everybody's all hot on the Patriots. Like I don't understand the kind of like disconnect there. I think Steve is here. Let me. Steve, welcome aboard. How are we doing today?
Good. Doing well. How you doing?
Pretty good. We were talked through. We got some preseason games tonight, so we were going through the preseason daily fantasy options, and then there's a couple updates I'm going to make to this article for the weekend for people drafting. So I was kind of talking through those too.
Nice. Nice. One of the things I did in advance of this call is I pulled up some of the preseason results in SportWise. So I was thinking we can take a look at that. I always find it really interesting in preseason to kind of take an aggregate player view, so you can see who's actually performing. And sometimes it doesn't always translate in the regular season, but sometimes you can see some standout performances that can tip you off to like a late sleeper pick or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I love preseason football, so anybody that wants to talk preseason football. It was so funny. So at the Fantasy Football Expo, they do the Saturday night party. It wasn't in the stadium this year. It was like at a separate location at this bar, and they had a big outdoor area and like a huge TV, and we were laughing because we're like, if anyone thinks the NFL is not in a good space, I'm sitting at a Saturday night at the Fantasy Football Expo. We've got a quad box going of preseason games, right? Like you can't even watch some sports regular season games on TV. And I have 4 preseason games going on one screen on this bar,
Yeah.
and everyone is surrounded like watching these games. It was hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. The funny thing about the NFL is it's like, because you only have 18 weeks of football, 17 games, and obviously they've added one. People just crave any other action that they can get. Whereas in other leagues, doesn't really matter as much because you got 82, 162, like maybe spring training in baseball's equivalent, but that's for a different reason. It's because people like to travel to a warm place and see their favorite team and turn it into a vacation. So I'm not surprised. I personally love preseason hockey as well, because I just love seeing all the, I love seeing the prospect pipeline before they come to the NHL and see them for the first time, wearing the jerseys that they've been drafted by, and seeing their first kind of taste of the NHL. So, I'm not surprised. It's interesting though. In Canada, we don't get any of those games. There's just such limited exposure for preseason.
Yeah. We missed you at the expo, though. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I know like logistically, it's hard for you or Josh to get there, but it definitely was not. It wasn't the same. I'm used to going to like FSGA, and I have some.
Yeah,
I'm with somebody, but I was like, everyone was like,
some
"Where's
buddies.
Steve? Where's Josh?" I was like, "Dude, it's just me."
Yeah, yeah. It is. Like it's such a great, fun weekend, but it's hard to get to. It's hard to get to coming up from Canada. So maybe next year. Maybe next year we'll be back. Um, if not that, a bunch of other shows for sure.
Yeah.
Alrighty, do we want to dive in and so you got Ricky Purcell on there. I'm curious what you think about him.
Oh
Didn't
yeah.
didn't that
I'm a
you
big
haven't
big Pearsall fan this year.
I had him at the end of last year, picked him up for some kind of utility weeks, and it, obviously showed a lot of great promise. And so with some of the injuries this year, you think that he's going to get a chance to display some of those guys before they come back?
Yeah, he should be. I mean, you have Jawan Jennings there too. I don't know. I don't know how hurt he actually is, like this calf injury. I don't know if he's actually hurt or if it's the kind of contract, because he had asked for a new contract once they traded Deebo Samuel. So I don't really know what's going on there. But regardless, Ricky Pearsall should at worst be 1A, 1B to start the season in terms of receivers. And he really came on last year. And people forget, like, they drafted him in the first round. And he really, like, he didn't even get a training camp barely last year because of like getting shot and all that stuff. So he missed a ton of time early on, which is critical for those younger receivers.
Yeah,
And I think he's going to have a big season. I mean, the 49ers in general are in such a good spot. They have such an easy schedule. We know they're going to be a top scoring offense. So I think he's a really good pick where he goes right now.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. Cool. Well, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, what did you have anything in specific you want to hit on? Because I know like a lot of times you've come on and we've been talking baseball. So I mean I know there's still baseball going on. The playoff races have kind of sped up here. Seattle's been on fire. Cleveland still has been on fire. Toronto's doing their thing. They're still in first place. But if you want to talk football, we can. If you want to talk baseball, we can do that as well.
Well, I'm gonna show you one of the things I pulled up for in SportWise. So I'll just share my screen really quickly
Yeah, I'll pop it up.
and we can talk through. I mean, I don't even see it.
Yeah, I got it.
So what I did is I came in and one of the data sets that we have in SportWise is, and it comes from our data feeds API, is all of the games. And so what we do is we flatten them and put them in SportWise as a data source. So one of the things that's really interesting is you can kind of come through, and we've done this in the past episodes where you combined a quarterback and a wide receiver to kind of see who plays favorites there. And but one of the things I love in preseason is to come in and just quite literally take all the preseason games and then just sort by performance in those particular games to see if there's any names that are kind of rising up to the top. So, we'll look at wide receivers first, receiving yards. Is there anyone on that list that you're like, oh, that's interesting? That particular receiver had a big game. Didn't expect that.
Yeah, so I know like you can speak on this a little bit too, because I know like you said in past years, like it's been weird for you to collect preseason, but it sounded like this year, we've had more success like collecting those games, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, just to give you two things, like, so in the past, there's two things that are going. One is we're testing things. So we're like, every year we make improvements on the collection engine. Every year it's less and less because as things become more stable and fast. Um, we're still testing things this year. But the other thing is sometimes in the past, and this still might happen, is we would come in and attempt to collect the game and there'd be no data. The team just wouldn't publish it. The NFL wouldn't publish it. That hasn't been the case this year. Every single game so far, I'm pretty confident, has had rich data like they would during the regular season. So normally in the past, you get half of the games between collection and issues and otherwise. This year we've had every single game, so it's been pretty interesting. It's been good for some of our data feeds customers who are testing their builds. But also it's been really interesting because you've got a full corpus of data for preseason.
Yeah, that is interesting. I wonder like if it'll keep just kind of being like I don't know. I feel like the more each year we go on, the more people are interested in getting that preseason. So I feel like the league is like more motivated to have actionable stats and like the real time. Because like even in years past, I can remember like not being like 5, 6, 7 years ago when I'm playing preseason DFS. If I wasn't watching the game, it would be hard to find like updates live during the game. And now like it even seems pretty reliable on ESPN. Like if I don't have the game on, like just going on the ESPN app and like it has like the play by play going on. And I don't remember that being the case like 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, it goes back to that, like, there's people that crave it and they're sitting in a bar watching preseason with,
Yeah.
four quarterbacks entering the game and, four or five players that will never play a regular season game in the NFL.
Yeah. To answer your question about this list, there is a couple guys that stick out to me. So first and foremost, my guy Johnny Wilson from the Eagles. He is actually a local kid. So
Oh,
he's from like probably like 30 minutes south of me, and then played high school football for a team called Steubenville in Ohio. And I was trying to explain because a lot of people at the Fantasy Football Expo, they ask me, they're like, "Oh, you're from here, and I try to tell them like how big football is. Obviously, we have the Hall of Fame in Canton, but people don't understand like how big football is in general around me. High school football is huge. So I love high school football. I go to high school football games. My friends and I will do high school fantasy football leagues, and we track the
Oh,
stats by hand. Like that's how big high school
crazy.
football is around me. So yeah, Johnny Wilson, local kid, was very good in college. He ended up going in the 6th round to the Eagles, but he is a very tall. He's like 6'6", 6'7", and he played for the Eagles a little bit last year, but this is his 2nd season. He's one of those guys that you think could take, a leap forward. Obviously, he doesn't have a role immediately because they have AJ Brown, they have Devonta Smith, they have like Jahan Dotson and those other guys. But if there's injuries that pile up, like you could see Johnny Wilson playing a role at some point, this season for sure. So it was cool to see him contribute. He definitely has pedigree. Jordan Watkins from the Niners, they drafted him pretty high, I think like 4th round. He got hurt though. He had 1 catch for 56 yards or 2. He had like 1 or 2 catches for those 56 yards and then got hurt. But he looked good when he was in the game. And he was like a decently high pick for them. And I know we were watching him on I think that was Saturday night that they played.
Keep the targets down.
Yeah. So those 2 stick out to me. Tanner Hudson for the Bengals. It's hilarious. He's like the greatest preseason tight end of all time. Like anyone that plays preseason DFS, he goes crazy every year. If you look at his preseason stats, it's insane. And then once again, he has 2 touchdowns in their first preseason game. It's crazy.
Just falters in the regular season. He's a good off season. He makes sure he's in great shape when he shows up at camp.
Yeah, he just never gets an opportunity. And even the Bengals, like they brought in Noah Fant. So it's like they have Fant, they have Gesicki. Like Tanner Hudson's not going to get, I guess, like meaningful reps right away for them. But anytime he gets a chance in the preseason, he's like the tight end version of Joe Milton. Like just can't play in a real game, but preseason looks like the best player on the field. It's hilarious.
I love it. Anybody else?
Yeah, not exact from this list. Can we maybe like scroll down or switch to maybe we could go through running backs?
Yeah, we'll do
as
running
well.
backs next.
Yeah, we could do that.
Here, I'll just pin the name.
Yeah, there's some good names on this list for sure. So, I mean, Keaton Mitchell, he had a good game for the Ravens in their first preseason game. He's going to have a role to start the season. So, I mean, he kind of broke onto the scene a few years, like 2 years ago. He got hurt last year. I was laughing because during the broadcast of that Colts and Ravens game, I don't know who the announcer was. I don't know if it was a Ravens announcer or what. I don't know. But he actually uttered the words. I'm not lying. He said, if Keaton Mitchell didn't get hurt last year, the Ravens would have went to the Super Bowl. Like just
Really?
just the most insane thing I've ever heard. Like these people are out of control, but Keaton Mitchell is very good and he will play a role. I know they have Derrick Henry, but Keaton Mitchell will be involved for the Ravens.
He won't get 75% of the carries anymore.
No, I don't know. I've kind of wondered about that. Like it's interesting to think through because you have to imagine a lot of the value for Derrick Henry in fantasy in past years has been, late in games, his team's winning and he just wears you down late in the game and he'll rip off a long touchdown. Like, will the Ravens this season, will they really have Derrick Henry in those situations? Like, I don't know. Like if they're up a couple scores late in the game, like, are they really going to have Derrick Henry in? I don't know. But that doesn't mean that it takes away his like floor value in fantasy because assuming the team is winning, like he's still going to be directly correlated to why they're winning. And he's going to be, we saw Lamar Jackson last year. Like Lamar Jackson did not score a lot of rushing touchdowns last year. And, a lot of that can be that if the defense is accounting for him in the red zone, like that just opens up Derrick Henry. So there's a path for Derrick Henry to like lead the league in touchdowns and then also just maybe take a step back overall usage. But I mean, they limited his snaps last year. Like he wasn't playing. Do you remember that? That was like a storyline earlier in the season last year. Like he was playing like 50% snaps, like in those first early games and people were like freaking out about it.
Yeah. Well, he's older, and they know they need to preserve him. But at the end of the season, they went back to normal.
Yeah. But I mean, if you look at Lamar, he only had 4 rushing touchdowns last year.
Yeah. Which is
So,
crazy.
yeah. And I mean, if I pulled up, I don't know, let me see red zone. I'm a bit curious to see. So if I looked at attempts inside the 20, Derrick Henry is like tied for 5th in the league. Inside the 10, he's 1, 2, 4th. And then inside the 5, he was second most in the league. So, I mean, I don't think that level of usage, like they're still going to go to him in the red zone at that, which
Yeah.
is why I think he could lead the league in touchdowns. And
Yeah.
then it just extrapolates it to where it's like the defense is going to account for Lamar like pulling that ball and running himself. So it just helps Derrick Henry so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, Keaton Mitchell's going to play though. They're not going to be running Derrick Henry for a ton of snaps.
Yeah, I agree with that. Who else do you have on this list?
Sean Tucker should, in my opinion, is like a starting caliber running back. He just got screwed over in Tampa because he comes in and then they have like Rashad White kind of going off. And then they still had kind of were messing around with Leonard Fournette, I'm pretty sure at that point, because this was a few years ago. But anyways, he got screwed by that. And then last year, I think like it was 2 years ago. It's like Rashad White never ended up getting hurt. So he never really got a true opportunity. Last year, they had this ascension of Bucky Irving. But, dude, Sean Tucker had one of the best games of any running back last year when he got in late in the season. Let me pull up that game log. And he's so good. It's unbelievable. Yeah, it was October 13th. He had 14 carries for 136 yards and a touchdown, and then he had 3 for 56 receiving and a touchdown. And it was just a crazy game. The Bucks won 51-27 over the Saints, but he's very, very good. I think Rashad White's already hurt right now, so there's a very good chance he can take over that RB2 for Bucky. And if Bucky misses any time, it's like wheels up. I don't know. Sean Tucker's really good. He could start for a number of teams, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't really on my radar, so it's interesting. He might be one of those good, late RB stashes when you get to some of those later rounds, just knowing that it's always so difficult to get running backs after the draft.
Yeah, he definitely is. And if you play like in dynasty leagues, I would try and get him. Like he ended up,
How old is he? Do I have?
He's 23. This is his 3rd season.
He got
drafted. I don't even know if he got drafted. I think he went undrafted.
Probably. I'm not going to do it right now, but I could add that data to this data space if we wanted to.
But he was really, really good in college. He played for Syracuse. He was one of the best running backs in the entire country, and he would have been a high pick. He had like a heart condition his senior year, and he didn't play like at all. He had dealt with like knee injuries and stuff too, but then I'm pretty sure he had like a heart condition or something, and like didn't know if he was gonna be able to play football at all. So the Bucks just like picked him up. But if he would have been healthy, like in the draft, he would have been like a 4th round pick, probably maybe 3rd. I don't know. He was really, really good in college.
Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna load up that data space, and I'm gonna quickly make those changes and add draft class and
do that, and then I'm gonna look this up anyways. I want to see what was wrong with him because he should have got drafted like high. Let's see.
We're gonna add player info.
Yeah, he was undrafted.
Just go name, date of birth, college. I'm gonna add draft class.
Yeah, so he had a previously undiagnosed heart condition that was discovered during the NFL Combine, leading him to go undrafted.
Crazy.
Yeah, his breakout year at Syracuse, 2021, he had 1,500 rushing yards, which was 4th most in the whole country. Most I think it was like most in Syracuse in the last like 30 years. I think he like, I don't even know. It was something crazy. But he was like a midseason All-American. Like he was like on his way, and then he got hurt, and then went to the combine, and they found like that heart issue, so they didn't know if he'd be able to play football. So he's a good he's a good
Will
pick.
Shipley.
Oh yeah, Will Shipley is very good as well. Will Shipley, I literally in my article that I had on the screen earlier, I literally wrote the exact words that Will Shipley is the best. He is the best late round pick in your draft. Like you have to draft Will Shipley in all of your leagues. Easy pick this year. Easy.
I'll heed that advice.
People were like AJ Dillon. No. If Saquon Barkley misses time, Will Shipley immediately is a top 10 fantasy running back, and he goes. It's like you can get him in your last round. I don't understand. People will spend up for these handcuffs from every other team, but the best rushing offense in football, nobody wants the handcuff to Barkley. I don't understand it.
Yeah. Let's do this.
And Will Shipley is just good at like an actual good football player as well.
I'm just cleaning this up a little bit.
Is this like published or is this just on yours?
No, I just mind. I can publish it after. I just put.
I'd be interested. Well, I was gonna say also because I've been doing these preseason DFS blogs. I can embed this into them.
Okay, I can do that.
Which would be cool.
Wall this over.
While you're doing that, I wanted to tell you about that FSGA college draft yesterday.
Yep. Yeah. Go ahead,
dude. It's 20 teams in this league.
What?
And it's a 20-team league, and there's 39 roster spots on every team.
I wouldn't even be able to participate.
Dude, the draft we got through, I'm looking at it right now. We got through 16 rounds right now, and then it's a 4-hour slow clock now. So we're in the 17th round or it's 30. We're in 17th of 30 rounds. So it's 20
It
teams,
finishes in December
rounds.
before the polls start.
Yeah, hopefully we can get this done. I mean, college football literally starts like the 30th. So hopefully we can finish it by then.
That is nuts. I didn't put completions on here. I've got them on there. I must have. Where'd they go? There they are. Oh yeah, missing a few things.
And I don't think that's consensus. I think it's normally like these college leagues. I think they're like 12 teams, like a normal league. But this one, is 20.
Well, to pick that many players too.
It's got everybody in this league too. I mean, it's crazy.
Anyone who is anybody?
Yeah, it's
let's go back and look at rushing yards.
All right.
Okay, so we've got probably a few guys that those guys might have been drafted in the last year, like
George Holani. He had a big game for the Seahawks last week. He played ahead of Ashton Genty for multiple seasons at Boise State. So he's pretty good. I don't know how much of a role he'll play for Seattle, but I mean, he definitely had pedigree in college. He had some big college.
So is Keaton Mitchell undrafted?
Like undrafted in what sense? Are you saying
in the NFL? Like we don't have any draft data for him. Are we missing? Like when? How old is he? Where is he?
He's 23 as well.
Yeah. So we should have his draft year. Was he undrafted?
Yes, he was undrafted. Yes.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, he had a big he had that really big rookie season, kind of broke onto the scene, and then just got hurt. But he's gonna play a role for the Ravens. Trying to see anyone else. I mean, a lot. Okay, so we're just looking at rookies from this year.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Cam Ward, I'm really high on. I mean, Travis Hunter, I don't need to dissect that. Yeah, everyone was like freaking out that Ashton Genty had 3 carries for -1 yards in the preseason game. I thought that was funny.
Who else was I gonna look at?
If we're
Everyone
looking at
was
if
freaking out about Jackson Dart.
yeah, he looked good. He looked good. I don't know. I'm sure we'll see him at some point this year. I don't know when. Um, it's weird. I don't think the Giants are going to be good. But when I sit down and we have this conversation all the time, every year there's a couple teams that surprise and like get in the playoffs that aren't supposed to. I don't think the Giants are going to be good, but I would put the Giants in that list of teams that could end up surprising and making the playoffs because they have a very good defensive front. They have playmakers on offense. If they got reliable quarterback play, I think they could like get in the wild card mix. They're not my pick to do that, but they're in that group of teams that could take that step forward. So I don't
Yeah, I can
know.
see that.
I don't know when we'll see him because if they're in the playoff mix, we're not going to see him. I don't think. But if they're really bad, then that's when you would see him.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Yeah. What about Shog?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big fan. The Saints are a disaster. If you're a Saints fan, I would say I feel bad for you, but at the same time, they got a Super Bowl, within the last 20 years. They had Drew Brees for years. Like, I don't know. But the Saints are a disaster right now, as a franchise.
Yeah, I would agree with you. It's funny, they were one of the teams last year where I was like the first few games, it's like, oh, I thought they were gonna be terrible. They're great. They might make the
Yeah,
playoffs.
that was when they came out. So they had Clint Kubiak, and then they kind of took the league by storm those first few weeks. They got too hurt though overall. They lost Olave, they lost Shaheed. It's kind of tough to overcome that at the end of the day.
All right, let's look at quarterbacks now.
It's funny Tanner McKee is up there. I have heard from like a few people, like actual like reporters that I've talked to that have said like the Eagles, like if they didn't have Jalen Hurts or if Jalen Hurts gets hurt, like they have no problems with like Tanner McKee. Like they think they think he's like legit. Like he should be starting on another team. And he absolutely look, the Bengals defense is not good. And especially if you're talking about their starters aren't good, so the backups aren't going to be good. But he absolutely destroyed them in that preseason game.
Yeah. 252, 2 touchdowns, 25 attempts. Was anyone else?
He had a rushing touchdown too.
Was anyone else in that game?
For the Eagles, we saw some McCord action. Yeah. Yeah, DTR. So Dorian Thompson-Robinson, former Brown, is I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why he's popping up there.
Let's get him updated. Probably just the roster collection hasn't moved him.
DTR and McCord are like fighting for the third quarterback on the Eagles.
Interesting.
So I guess like I don't know. We'll see if we ever see Tanner McKee like get actual game action. I don't think any of these other guys on this list will play, except for Shug. He'll obviously play for the Saints. But any of those other guys, Drew Lock,
I was gonna say Drew Lock.
If Darnold gets hurt, maybe, but I feel like they'd be more inclined to just put Milroe in, personally, unless they were really in like a playoff race. I'm not sure. Shador, obviously, maybe, but he's hurt now, and it's like an actual injury. So I don't think we'll see him again for the rest of the preseason.
Yeah. I was like, man, this is going to be the start of a great story.
Well, I mean, we're still going to see him at some point this year. I can tell you that because it's the Browns. I mean, just even when the Browns made the playoffs 2 years ago, they still played like 6 quarterbacks that year. The Cleveland Browns will not have a season where they don't play 5 or 6 quarterbacks. So you will see Shador Sanders at some point. I can promise you that. I just don't know when.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, we were laughing in my group chat yesterday that I mean, Shador Sanders pulled. I think that game did 2.2 million viewers. The preseason game. That's like more than NBA Finals games. Like Shador Sanders is getting more viewers in a preseason game than like an NBA Finals game would. So what would he do on like a primetime regular season game? It would be insane. The numbers.
Yeah, it's part of the reason again why like I find like football so weird. Like you have your entertainers, you have entertainment. Like to have him go in the fifth round, it's crazy to me. And like some of those passes, pretty nice touch. Like slinging it in high, low, land it right in the spot. Like tough to weave it in there. It's not like he rolled up through the obvious open guy and he ran in for a touchdown. Like there were some pretty good passes there.
Yeah, it had to be like behind the scenes stuff because even if you discount it again, and I've said this, like I didn't have him like top 2 or 3 as an actual quarterback, but even then he should have went in like the third round. Like he shouldn't have got
Yeah.
to the fifth round. So I don't know. There had to be something that we just don't know. I don't know. It's a very weird situation.
Well, and like again, I come back. I know we talked about this. I'll just reiterate the point. You so you're worried about his dad and dealing with his dad. Let's assume that's the issue. Like you guys are all NFL guys as well. What are you afraid of? Like you don't think you can handle Deion Sanders?
Yeah, I don't know. It's really weird. It's probably something we'll never even like get the answer to either.
Yeah. Well, it'll be. Let's just fast forward and project the future. He's a superstar.
Yeah.
There'll be a documentary that we'll talk about it. It'll be the same as the Aaron Rodgers documentary where
Yeah.
he kind of talks about him sliding and how he felt about it and what people were telling him, and they'll interview people who passed on him. And so I don't know, is he going to be a superstar? I have no idea,
I
but
could push back. There'll be a documentary made regardless.
yeah, you might be right. Might be right, because it's good entertainment. It's a good story.
Yeah, because it's very easy. It's like here's the story, right? Like they doubted him and then he became great, or here's the story like what went wrong. Like it's gonna
Yeah.
be the story will be told one way or the other.
Yeah, his dad goes to a program that kind of sucks, and then these like two guys come out of it, and they win a handful of games where they're not supposed to. It's entertaining, to say the least. And if you're going to be a pile of dog, why not be entertaining? Why not be an entertaining pile of dog?
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
Anything else that we want to look at from these preseason games so far? And like I said, I'll publish this to the community, and people can go in and play with it. Technically it's just going to be the whole. So I'll create a preseason view and make that the default for now.
Yeah,
But it'll be every game
yeah,
as the season goes on.
and I'll share it in the like I said in my preseason blogs. I'll just plug it in there as well, so people if they just want to see whatever players I'm talking about, what they've done, they can easily do that.
Cool. Do we want to quickly take a look at baseball?
Yeah, let's do it.
So I
First and
don't know if
foremost, wait, before we get into that, we got to the Guardians heard me talk smack about them because I was really giving it to them for a few weeks, and I
yeah,
am local, so I don't know if somehow, some way, there may be clips of me being played in the locker room because they have just been
motivational. Yeah,
on fire.
yeah. It's funny because when you were kind of going through that, I was like, oh Ben, I don't totally agree with you. Like I don't think they're that bad,
They suck, man.
but
I
they're,
still
they're
don't.
not
I still don't
good.
believe it. I still don't believe in them.
And
That's
then
just
they
fool's gold.
they flip it around, but yeah, we got to get you. And I hate to say it, but like Dean Kremer, he's gone now.
I know. I
I
know.
picked
He.
him up. I don't know if I have him
uh,
on my team in this list. I haven't updated the data. No, I don't think. Oh yeah, there's Dean. And so one of the strategies that I've been employing, which may or may not work, it'll just come to my lineup, is a bunch of guys with 2 starts. And so I've been trying to just get innings in to try to catch up. knowing that it might affect my whip and ERA maybe a little bit. But if we come in and look at this week, it's working not too badly. There are a couple of funny things I just wanted to point out to you, like not great ERA, not great whip, so I made a right decision there. Brady Singer, though, oh my God, where did this come from? He had a great game. And then Ryan Helsley, like, come on, man. What's going on here? You get to a good team and you just suck. Mitchell Parker got exploded. Nathan Eovaldi. So I'm getting the innings in. It's showing in the rankings for this particular week, but didn't turn out great. And then the last one is I the Willie Adames saga continues. So he has all these great weeks after I bench him, sitting on the bench. I'm like, okay, you've earned your spot back in the lineup. Take out Perdermo, who's been fantastic, and zeros, swing and miss all week from Big Will.
Just when we were starting to give him a little respect around here.
And our boy Geraldo, 375 for the week, 2 jacks. Like, come on. It's tough being a manager. Like, you got to make all these tough decisions, and then your players just disappoint you.
Yeah, I feel that.
The other guy that I picked up that I thought was interesting was Jordan Walker. I thought maybe end of season he'd start turning around, and no, he's been
the opposite.
He's been brutal.
0 for 8, 4 strikeouts. Wow.
Yeah, not good. Anything going on in your team?
No, my team is just like I just waved the white flag. I got sad about it. It's just like really disheartening.
It is tough.
Wait, when looking at your team though, we got to shout out Vlad because man, he started so bad. You remember that?
Yeah.
Like the first month or so, they were like, "Why'd they pay him?" I'm not saying you said that. I'm saying what other people were saying. They were like, "Why'd they pay him?" And then now all of a sudden he's on fire, and the team is in first place and all that stuff.
And if you look at ranking wise, like my ranking across cats, he's up to third. And if you look at the per at bat, he drops a little bit, but he's right up there. Where he was at the bottom for a long time in my lineup. But if you look, I've got 4 Blue Jays now. Ty France, Nathan Lukes, Springer, and Vladdy. And other than Springer being hurt, like they all just continue to perform. And like I picked up Ty France. I was like, I'll stash him on the bench. I've got an extra spot. I should have played him this week.
Yeah. It's not even a bad strategy to have those guys because the team has been so good. Like they've been scoring runs.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. Yeah, I don't really have any other comments. Like at this stage, it's just trying to find your pride in the standings. And I think you should try to catch your boy Dan Schneider.
I
know. You guys leaving the draft, Howard was pumping both of your tires. Genius, savants.
Oh, God.
They're side by side. They're in cahoots.
Yeah, they were. Maybe that was just a bad omen, to be honest.
He jinxed you.
Maybe I'll just blame Howard.
But the one interesting thing about Lash is he is so active on the waiver wire. It's insane. I think that is where he's had his
definitely sets him apart.
Like he is in a constant state of moving guys around.
Yes.
And like some of them, I'm like, did they work out? Like I had Bailey over in my other league. He's terrible. I dropped him. He was a high pitching draft pick for me. And he's like, I guess he just goes in, picks him up, stashes them. If it doesn't work, then he moves on
Yeah.
to the next guy.
I mean, he's been okay. Like his last 2 starts. So he went 6 innings, 1 earned, 4 Ks, and then 5 1/3, 3 earned, 4 Ks. I don't know. Like, just is what it is, I guess.
Like look at his. Oh, he picked up Selfrick for Leck. I just want to go week by week and look at his team. Nothing really too groundbreaking there. This now is a
But
few
look
weeks in, he starts to get.
yeah, look at this. He's just going crazy.
And it's funny, he picked up like I have had him on my team at one point. I had Dylan Moore. I
Yeah.
have Carson Kelly right now. I'm just picking up his trash.
I think it was like his background though is like fantasy baseball.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising to me that
When he
he's
works at a
good
newspaper, so they would be like monitoring
yeah, exactly.
and writing articles on a week-to-week basis. Oh,
For
he got
sure.
Dirty Curdy. That was a
Yep.
good one.
Yeah, that was like right.
$10.
That was right when he was going to get called, right around when he was going to get called up.
Wow.
Got
That's a
ahead on that
season
one.
winner right there.
Yeah, that's a big pickup. Getting ahead on that for sure.
Otherwise, he's really just cycling through a bunch of known entities.
Yeah. Probably just getting
Except
them when it's
Rami.
most optimal, like the matchups and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe he's doing that. There's a lot of pitcher rotation.
Yeah. I'm going to petition
Yes.
a FSGA baseball best ball league next year.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea at all. Add a few more players to the draft. Let it run. See who wins. So the guys like that's always the thing. Part of the reason why SportWise was born is to be able to compete with guys like him,
Yeah.
where it just takes so much time and energy to sort through exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
And being able to set up a data space and be able to like just go in, hit refresh, and like have it all the way that you want to see it and look at it makes it so much faster.
Yep.
Like the only thing that I would say that we would benefit in SportWise that he probably has the advantage of is having shorter timeframes because we're always just looking at a season of data. But you could pull in all the MLB games and then sort on a weekly basis and see who's high performing, and then have another one that has kind of their overall season stats. So I guess you could probably still build it out. But it's tough to compete with someone who is doing it all the time.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
It's the same in hockey too. Like
There's still I would say in baseball, there's less luck involved because it will somewhat stabilize over the course of how long the season is, but you still have to get a little bit lucky. In football, there's a little bit more luck. There's more room for luck, just with the less amount of games and the injuries and stuff.
oh, I completely agree.
In football, it is a skill, and I firmly believe fantasy football is a skill, but I would say the skill is more of your process and how you draft and routinely being in the mix. The skill is not winning the league just because you have to. You could have the most points for the entire season and then just you lose 1 week in the playoffs and you're done. That's lucky at the end of the day. But the skill is still there and how you construct your team and putting yourself in a position to win. It just doesn't always work out. Baseball, that stabilizes a little bit more because it's so long,
especially when it's not head to head. But like one of the things that I find interesting about I'll use hockey as an example in one of my competitive leagues. There's one guy that I'm thinking of, like every time I look at his team each year, I'm like, yeah, it's okay. He's got a few good players, etc. But he works each week. And I don't know what his process is. If he goes in, he's like, here's who I'm playing this week. And he then goes and uses the bottom end of his roster to churn to pick up guys that would then help him potentially win those categories that are important in that week. And so I always find he does very well. I always find it interesting because even though I wouldn't say it's the best team, he wins the most consistently, and he wins in the playoffs. In our league, two of the rounds are 2-week basis. He hardly ever loses those, and so much of it is I think that his strategy is so much on head to head and not kind of picking up players that he ends up being good at winning, as opposed to maybe necessarily picking the best players or kind of projecting the future or finding the diamonds in the rough, or
Right.
how a lot of us other folks would potentially, like when I go in and look at a team, like I want to get the best team possible, and then maybe I do a bit of tinkering on a week by week basis. And I think that has the longest staying power. But there's something to be said, like he just wins. He's figured out how to win.
Yeah. I definitely think that there's, you can do that in those leagues. I don't disagree.
Like even in NFL, like how much attention do you pay to bye weeks and bye week management?
Yeah, I would say it depends on the league, and then it would depend on in what way you're asking. So I think, let's say I'm playing in a league and I don't have an elite quarterback, because if you spend up for a quarterback in the first 4 rounds, you're probably not drafting another quarterback because you're just going to need them for 1 week. So you can just pick somebody up that 1 week. But if you don't get an elite quarterback, then I think it becomes more of a conversation to look at bye weeks and then look at who they play each week, right? Like that's something you can do. So, hey, I have Drake May. He plays this guy. He plays the Titans this week, and maybe the other quarterback. Like you can go ahead.
Ben, I'm gonna have to pause that thought. I've got to jump off to take a phone call.
Go for it.
So I'm
I'm gonna
sorry to
finish
leave
my.
everybody.
Oh, you're fine. I'll finish my thought and I will wrap the stream up. But you can.
Awesome.
You can do your thing. Thank you for coming on. All right, guys. So to finish my thought on that. Oh, and also I just saw while we were on here, I saw something about Rashee Rice may not get suspended. I don't know. This is an unknown. When I say he may, I saw something that said he may not get suspended. I'm saying this year. He's getting suspended. We kind of just don't know when or how long. So I don't know. I still don't really think you can. I don't really think you can take him. I don't know. I'll put some more thought into this whole thing. But for right now, I'm kind of sticking with what I said. And it's just not it's not something I want to invest in. I'm definitely going to bump up Worthy a little bit though into that 4th round tier. But I'll have some updates made to this article for your drafts this weekend. I will have a preseason blog out later today. So make sure you check that out. I'll repost it on Twitter and all that stuff. Good luck tonight if you're playing preseason fantasy, if you're betting, any of that good stuff. I will be back live on Monday. I have my home league draft on Sunday in person, so we can review that draft on Monday and then talk about anything else we have to talk about. Plan for preseason article today and tomorrow. Sunday, I don't know. We'll see. But thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate it. And I will see everybody on Monday.